Hey guys, Kiwi here. In this video, I'll be breaking down and discussing Maggie returning to Season 10 of The Walking Dead. With that being said, major warning of spoilers for everything in the show up to the Season 9 finale, and let's jump right into this. So, Maggie snuck away during the 6-year time skip in between episodes 905 and 906. This was right after Rick's departure from the show himself, and they seemed to majorly focus on that and not Maggie. In 905, there literally isn't even any indication of her leaving, just that Jesus told her that Georgie had a note for her, but we didn't even get to see what was in it because she didn't even read it during the episode, as she was immediately leaving to go and confront Negan, something that was rushed ahead from the comics due to them wanting to shoehorn it in the show before her actor's departure, and subsequently, Maggie just not being on the show anymore. So I'm sure you're aware, but if not, I have previous videos going more in depth on the behind the scenes drama, but it pretty much involved AMC either not offering Lauren Cohan enough for her lead role alongside characters like Carol and Daryl, or Lauren was asking for too much, I'm not sure. Lauren Cohan was definitely playing hard to get, I'm not gonna lie, but then again, AMC is known to be greedy, so take that as you will. Anyways, the last we even saw of Maggie on the show was during her reaction to Rick's bridge exploding, so I wouldn't blame you if you didn't even realize that she was gone at first. We briefly get the excuse of her being comfortable helping Georgie work on other communities at the beginning of Season 9 through conversations between people like Jesus and Tara, which is kind of weird to look at now as they're both dead. So we originally thought that Georgie was from the Commonwealth, especially since Georgie looks almost exactly like the leader of the Commonwealth from the comics. That being said, if the Commonwealth is on the radio at the end of episode 916, then that forces us to meet Maggie once the Commonwealth gets introduced, as she's supposed to be there with them already. Now with all that being said, it could still take the radio all of Season 10 to come to fruition. Hell, maybe they're just setting it up throughout Season 10 and the Commonwealth will be introduced in Season 11 after the Whispers, who knows. It's been a debate if they're going to introduce the Commonwealth at the same time as the Whispers, or if they're going to wait until afterwards like the comics, because in the comics they played a long game with Eugene's radio. We saw him buying it at the fair and he tries fixing it throughout the Whisper War until he finally comes in contact with a woman from the Commonwealth, finally exploring that more once the threat of the Whispers trickled out. I'll be doing a full radio breakdown and prediction video as well from the Season 9 finale going into Season 10, so be on the lookout for that coming up soon on the channel. But the point here is that if Maggie is at the Commonwealth with Georgie, and it was the Commonwealth on the radio, then she'll have to show back up once the Commonwealth gets discovered and explored more on the TV show. Also, the radio is supposed to discover the Commonwealth for the first time, so it would be a bit underwhelming if it just turned out to be Georgie's group with Maggie, because then we'd already feel safe with them and have credibility with them through Maggie. We aren't really supposed to know about the new community through the radio. That's the suspense. Is the person lying to Eugene? Can they trust each other enough to actually work out some sort of mutual arrangement? If it's already just Georgie's community, then Maggie can just vouch for us and be like, oh, that's just Alexandria and Hilltop, don't worry about them. So, are Maggie and Georgie actually from the Commonwealth? If it is the Commonwealth coming through the radio, I feel like they wouldn't want to ruin all of that suspense by just making it Maggie and Georgie, so maybe Georgie really is from a different community other than the Commonwealth after all, or maybe they are connected somehow, but the Commonwealth is just so huge and vast that they just, aren't actually within contact in that way. Now, as far as an update on Maggie's situation, since halfway through Season 9, we overheard Michonne and Yumiko, I believe, talking about it, and apparently a letter was sent to Maggie updating her on what happened to Jesus and Tara, but Maggie hasn't responded yet. And they made it sound kind of unusual, as if she always responds or something, but it is winter, so who knows how they even get the letters delivered. Also, Yumiko talked about the Hilltop having like a council of sorts. What's the deal with the Hilltop's leadership anyways? If Maggie doesn't return fully, we may need someone else to lead the Hilltop for Season 10, which will just feel weird, especially if it's like a council of sorts. Now, there is Ezekiel already at the Hilltop, but he's from the Kingdom, which I hope we see the return of in Season 10. There's recent news stating how the characters are going to be closer together than ever in Season 10, which is good news, but I don't know, I really want to see the return of the Kingdom. It was strange enough having Jesus, Tara, Daryl, Ezekiel, and Magna's group lead the Hilltop, especially since they're either from other communities like Alexandria or the Kingdom, or they're just new characters in general like Magna's group, which means that they really shouldn't be leading the Hilltop currently. Leave any theories on who you think will lead the Hilltop in Season 10 if Maggie doesn't return for good. Speaking of which, there are two options for Maggie's return. She will either come back fully or partly, because if she comes back fully, meaning that she returns to the show at some point in Season 10 to become a series regular again, she'll most likely return as the leader to the Hilltop, solving that problem and being on screen as much as Daryl and Carol. Now, that would only happen if the other TV show her actor's currently on, Whiskey Cavalier, ended or was cancelled, or they wrote her off somehow, which I'm not sure if that's an option. I mean, Heath's actor went to go and do a TV show 24 Legacy, which was cancelled after just a single season, so it's not impossible for something like that to happen to Whiskey Cavalier as well, but we'll just have to wait and see. I haven't really checked up on the show's reception yet. But on the other hand, if Maggie only partly returns to the show, how will she return if it's only for a few episodes out of the entire season? Because they're essentially going to have to write her back into the show, have her show up for a little bit, and then write her out again. We could have her showing up with Georgie and returning to the Hilltop with Georgie's people for a few episodes just to visit, and then she could maybe leave again, and maybe time skips could be involved to make sense as to why she's suddenly there one episode and then not the next. But with that being said, hopefully they actually show her coming and going this time. Some people are sour that she didn't even say goodbye to anyone on screen, and I don't blame them. In episode 905, she was overshadowed by Rick's departure, and they didn't even advertise Maggie leaving. It was just all Rick Grimes' final episode. They didn't even mention Maggie leaving. I mean, we knew that she was only going to be in 6 episodes as well, but that's because of all the behind-the-scenes drama. We didn't even know that her final episode was the same as Rick's final episode. It just kind of happened. I didn't even know that 905 was Maggie's final episode or until like the day or so after it aired, and then I saw them talking about it on articles and interviews, and I was just kind of thrown for a loop because I thought that 905 would have been Rick's episode and then 906 would have been Maggie's goodbye episode, but no, she doesn't even get a goodbye episode. Screw her, right? I mean, I'm obviously just joking, but that is kind of what it felt like. And I've even gotten comments of people saying that they don't miss Maggie, or some have even admitted that they never even noticed that she was gone, or it took them a while to be like, where the hell did Maggie go? Her disappearance is only ever mentioned and explained briefly during casual conversation, so you have to be really watching and listening to each scene to notice.
Twins drop off another letter from Georgie?
No, I was just reading one of the old ones she sent. Thinking about how much she's done for us, how much is still left to do.
You thinking about joining her? You know she'll never get tired of asking.
You know, I like her ideas, but not that much.
I bet she's got a killer record collection by now.
I'm plenty busy building a future right here.
There are a lot of casual viewers who maybe look at their phone or only half pay attention. Maybe they're talking to other people while they're watching the show. They would have missed learning that during the slower scenes where the hell Maggie went, and yeah, that is their fault, but I'm just saying. Anyways, moving on, as far as Maggie's return goes, what if she just doesn't want to return to the Hilltop, or maybe Georgie's community won't let her leave or go with her and escort her back because they think that the roads are too dangerous and that it's too much of a risk due to the knowledge of the Whispers? Because if they got that letter learning about the Whispers and what happened to Tara, Jesus, and all the other Pike victims, Georgie's community probably doesn't want the Whispers to even know that they exist, because the Whispers are threatening 3 communities at once: Alexandria, Hilltop, and the Kingdom. So, if Maggie doesn't return to the current timeline during the Whisper War because maybe Georgie's group thinks that it's too dangerous, they don't want to randomly show up and have themselves get outed as well, then how will we have Maggie return in Season 10? Well, we could have her in a flashback episode, or just, a few flashback scenes as well, which could take place between episodes 905 and 906, just like the Jesus flashback, just like the Michonne flashbacks. Now, this flashback could show Maggie deciding to leave, along with actually showing her say goodbye to the people of the Hilltop and leave with Georgie. The flashback episode could then also bring back dead characters like Jesus, Enid, or Tara just for that extra scene, which I obviously wouldn't mind. I welcome it, especially if it serves a purpose. It'd be nice to just see Enid just, walking around in the background just for an extra scene, just because she's there. Now, the thing is, can the flashback explain the Maggie versus Michonne thing, please? I'm gonna make a video about this, but we were explained why Michonne didn't interact with the other communities or bring new people in, but they made it seem like Alexandria specifically had beef with the Hilltop, as if Michonne and Maggie had a personal falling out, causing an awkward feud between each other. Michonne didn't want to go to the Hilltop specifically because she didn't want to see Maggie, but then Sadiq told her that she wasn't there anymore, so Michonne went.
I should have told you about Maggie sooner. I'm sorry.
Where is she?
With Georgie. Someplace far. Helping her with some new community. That's all I know. This means you can come with us to Hilltop. You should.
And yeah, look out for a Michonne versus Maggie video up on the channel at some point, but back to Maggie's return, let's just kind of go over the options again. If she isn't shown in a flashback, but she doesn't return to the Hilltop, then how will we get an update for her? Will we see her in a bottle episode? Could they focus on maybe cutting to Maggie and seeing what she's doing with Georgie for even just half an episode or an entire episode? Maybe it could be over the span of 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 episodes of season 10. It may be odd randomly showing what Maggie is up to in season 10, especially since she's just so far away. We didn't see her leave in season 9 and we haven't seen her at all in season 9. It could just kind of feel random and out of place, but if they did a 2-episode governor flashback, they can do this. They can even start off season 10 showing what Maggie's up to with Georgie. We'd just see a completely new community and then we'd be like, what the hell's going on? And then it would cut to Maggie and Georgie, and maybe Maggie is in like a serious position, maybe she's in the middle of something, but you know, I would like to see it cut to Maggie and then periodically cut back to Alexandria and the Hilltop and see what's going on there going into springtime after the winter that we saw in the season 9 finale. Now, some people theorize that they could actually turn Maggie's story with Georgie into a movie just because Scott Gimple did this article interview where he was talking about being open to the idea of Maggie having her own movie, but it hasn't, you know, really been talked about too much. It was kind of just Scott Gimple spitballing, saying that he wants to open up the universe of The Walking Dead. He wants to have multiple TV shows. He wants to have multiple movies. He wants to have side stories. He wants to have just an entire Walking Dead multiverse type deal. And in order to do that, he's opening up to different characters, having movies like maybe Morgan's gonna get a movie, or maybe Maggie will get a movie, and then she'll sort of get intertwined in with the Rick movies. Who knows? But they could do that, and you know, if they don't, they could always just bring her back into the TV show and make it a bottle episode on the actual show, or at least something that the show cuts to as a B story during certain episodes, taking up about half of the episode that it's shown in. Lauren Cohan did say in a recent interview that she's not done with Maggie's character yet, and she says that she will somehow return to the Walking Dead universe, but how? Will she return to the Hilltop? Will we see what she's doing with Georgie? Or will we get a flashback to her initially leaving the Hilltop for the first time? I'd appreciate a like on the video if you've enjoyed anything I've said today, or even subscribe for more Walking Dead content in the near future. Check out my Patreon and follow me on Twitter as well, as I'm always posting everything I can involving the Walking Dead universe, links to both in the description. But anyways guys, as always, I thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out!